guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Saturday, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Saturday afternoon, guys. Currently driving, so please bear with me with all this background noise. Have you lost yourself? Have you lost yourself? Have you lost yourself? This can branch off in a couple of different directions. Number one, did you lose yourself in that relationship? And now that relationship is over and you just don't know your head from your feet? Are you somewhere in the process, you're waiting on a promise and God has went silent on you? Or it just seems like things were moving, now it's not moving? Have you lost yourself because... Have you lost yourself? Okay, so I want to speak about a few things that's pinging in my spirit. Hopefully one of you guys can receive this. If you have been in that relationship or marriage, and it's coming to an end or it has ended, and you are feeling lost, I mean absolutely lost. There's this even though the relationship or the marriage was toxic, and you're probably happy that it ended, or maybe not. Either which way, there's still this void. You feel empty inside. You feel like, where do you fit? Where do you belong? In this season for yourself, what God is doing is, God is allowing a space for you to work on yourself, a space to rebuild yourself back up. Because you know, when sometimes in relationships and marriages, you lose yourself because you're so busy taking care of everybody else, maybe the kids, the hubby, the wife, whatever, right? You're so busy including work. You're so busy taking care of everyone else that sometimes it happens very subtly that you lose yourself. Like it keeps depleting you. And at some point when it's over, you look in the mirror and you're like, who the heck am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. So if this is you, God may be giving you a space. Let that be if God have actually relocated or not, right? But God is giving you a space because He wants you to really start loving back on yourself again. He needs you to really start doing things for yourself again. What makes you happy? What makes you happy, right? You can give everything to everybody else, but what makes you happy? And don't wait on anybody else to do it for you, right? Don't wait on friends or, I mean, if they can go, fine. But a lot of the times when God wants to work on you, He wants to isolate you. And this is why sometimes God will have people that they're just not available. And it's not that people are rejecting you, but God will allow people to just not be available when there's certain things that He needs you to really work on independently. So take a trip by yourself. What are you afraid of? You got the Lord with you, honey, right? Take a trip by yourself. Go get that massage, right? Go someplace in nature where you can just heal. Because, sometimes we want to think like getting our hair and nails done, like that's self-care, right? Self-care, just love on yourself. Take yourself to dinner, right? I want to challenge you. Take yourself to go by yourself. Love on yourself. Remember who you were before you got into that relationship and you lost yourself. Remember who you were. You knew when you walked in that door, you demanded all the attention. You knew you had choices, but you chose that one that you remind yourself of who you were and who you are. Next, to the individual who's lost because you started the journey, you saw fruit, you saw movement. Now things are looking the complete opposite of what God says, and things have just went AWOL, and now it's like you're back to like square one, whatever. Understand that a process is a process, and there's many things that happen within that process. You hit so many seasons, you hit so many delays, you hit so many moments of despair. There's so many things that go on in that process. But before major breakthrough, a lot of the times things look the complete opposite of what it's supposed to look like in the physical realm. So don't get too discouraged when things are looking the complete opposite. Again, be sure, all caps, be sure that you are hearing from God and you're not moving on flesh. Because if you're moving all on flesh, God is not obligated to get behind it. I know that sounds a little crafty, but it's true. God's not obligated to get behind something that you concocted. You yourself have to manage that thing. But if you know that you've heard on God with certain things and things are looking the complete opposite, and now you're lost and you're feeling like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I really heard from God. I don't know if I want to do this any longer. I want to go back home. Get still. Get still. Turn down your distractions and connect spiritually. Get still. Turn down your distractions, all of your distractions, and connect spiritually. And God will start giving you insight on what this delay about, what this frustration is about. Because I'm telling you, it really is true that when you're hitting certain roadblocks, there's a reason behind it. And sometimes that reason is us, believe it or not. Many times when you're seeing movement and then all of a sudden something happens, there's a delay, right? God went silent on you. Or like what tap in spiritually to really hear from God. Ask God, what did you do? Lord, what did I do now? Am I getting ahead of you, right? Am I sinning in a certain area, right? And I haven't repent. Like, what's going on? If you get silent and if you get still, God will literally reveal to you what's going on. You're getting ahead of me. You know I told you that I will open that door, not a person. So why are you calling everybody to open that door? Right? So go do what you do. Beat the doors down till your hand fall off. Right? I'm back here in the cut chilling. Right? So if you feel a person can do it, right? Sometimes I will use a person, but when I tell you I'm not going to use a person, this is me right here. Just go around. If you are getting too impatient that you can't wait on me, then go beat the doors down. I'm right over here in the cut chilling. You come back and holler at me when you done tired of knocking on the door. Right? Did God tell you not to do a particular things? Right? Not to go out with that person because X, Y, and Z. Not to go to this place. Like, don't even put yourself in an environment because it's going to be an environment that really, like, he told you and you still made your head hard. And now I was like, well, God, why are you selling to me? And he's like, because I can't even trust you. Ooh, somebody just got hit. Somebody just got hit because I felt it in my spirit. I can't even trust you. So you asking me to rush a promise that I promised you. Yeah, okay. You're harassing my nerves about rushing it, and I can't even trust you. If I can't trust you now, I sure can't trust you with the promise. Let me tell you. You learn this the higher you go. God will watch you with the smallest. I'm telling you, God will watch you and convict you and test you with the smallest thing. I keep going through the buggy test. I've probably been through the buggy, and I already mastered that test 1,000 times. Kizzy, put your buggy back, right? I do it all the time. But just one time yesterday, come on, God, can I get props for the 100 times I did it, right? Just yesterday, I was tired, okay? I was tired. I left the buggy in the middle of the store. I got in my car and God convicted me. I went back into the store. Everybody else can just leave their buggy everywhere. I'm convicted to go, oh, I did it though. The point I'm trying to make is God will convict you and test you with the smallest things. So if you can't pass the smallest test, meaning that just really means paying attention to your convictions and being obedient to your convictions. You may think it's small, but he's watching you to build you up further. When you start mastering those small tests, then God start trusting you with larger tests. Like, all right, you can go over there for dinner because I trust and believe that you will take your behind home and you won't stay too late. Right? But if I can't trust you with the small things, I'm supposed to trust you to sit. Well, make it make sense. So, just ask God, is there something you're doing? And guess what? It may not even be you. It may be the other side. The other side is making their head hard. The other side is just not ready. And no matter how much you do your part, God will not release anything to you if it's not ready. If it's not ready, it can look like a lot of things. God may still be processing a whole soul side on the other side, whole narc on the side. God could be moving, shifting and moving people, like if it's places, or it could be people, places, or things. But whatever's on the other side, God have to, he's removing certain things. He's shaking certain things up. But at the end of the day, everybody had free will. God didn't force you, so God ain't gonna force anybody else to do the right thing. So you may be, I don't know, God may tell you that your husband, who you're now separated, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out here, right? Y'all are now separated, but God won't release you from this thing, right? This man probably not going on, he acting a fool, honey. He's somewhere on a Jamaican cruise, honey. Everything around him to work, and he acting a straight fool. And you and you're looking at these pictures on Facebook and Instagram, and you're like, and Lord, I want to go out here and twerk too. And Cassie, get this together, okay? You're like, Lord, now you know this ain't right, right? You know this ain't right. I gotta sit up in this house, and you're convicting me to stay home and read my word. And this man is on this cruise, losing his mind, having the time of his life, and I gotta say, this is not fair. That God haven't released you yet. So many times God is still doing a work on the other side. Now keep in mind, because this can be a very fine line, and this is where a lot of people get things mixed up at, right? You got to know when you're hearing from God. This ain't no emotions. This ain't no heart posture. This is all about obedience. When you know that you know that you know that you know. If God hasn't released, when God releases you for something, it's very evident, right? It's very evident. When God won't release you from something, there's a, how can I describe it in a more physical term? There's probably even a longing that you're ready to be released from it. But then there's a conviction that won't allow you to go. There's a conviction that won't even allow you to try to move on. Like you want to. So that's different from the woman who is trying to hold on because her heart is tied up and she just can't let him go, or the husband who can't just let his wife go, right? Even though God is telling you to go. God is telling you, listen, this just ain't it. Because first of all, I ain't had a part in this nonsense anyway when you chose this soulless woman anyway, right? So she done break your heart 35 times, and you keep coming back to me praying and talking about you fasting. You can fast all you want. I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm trying to sit here and release you from this thing so I can send you your wife, right? So I need you to go. I'm telling you to go. Here's your walking papers. Go. So that's your flesh. That's an emotional place. That's even probably a soul tie that got you tied there. But in the spiritual realm, when God releases you, it literally is a release. It's like, boom, you're free to go. Because I told you to somebody came just down with a motorcycle. Just, oh my goodness gracious. I told you to go, and I lost my train of thought just now. Say it, get up off of me. A guy came through with a motorcycle just now, honey, and hit the what do you call it when you kind of just ram the is that gears? I don't know what that is, but he scared me. So there literally is a release. You feel free to go. Even if you want to stay, or even if you want to go, you feel free to go. There is no conviction whatsoever. God is like, God is saying, job well done, right? I really tried to work on this nut case over here. Like, seriously, I really tried because I want to really use him for the kingdom. I know if he turned his life back around, I know if he repent, right? I know I can really work and transform him, but he has free will. So time has ran out. I've tried. Their mind is made up. So now I got to release you. You're free to go. Even if that's you, you're free to go. It's still this thing, because this is something that God kind of had you working on, standing for, things like that for quite some time. So now you have to try to figure out, what do I do now? You keep doing what you're doing, right? Life keeps lifing. Do you, period. Go have a great time, seriously, right? But you're still going to have to, God to guide you. God will guide you exactly what you need to be doing, because regardless of what, there's still this purpose, there's still this calling, the things that you learn along the way, etc., etc. There's still things for you to do. Don't lose that. Don't lose that at all. So that's my thoughts on if you've lost yourself, but regardless of whatever direction it may be, God is truly, truly, that's what it was from earlier. I know I was missing one. A lot of people feel like they're lost because of the pruning season. So the promise still is, right? Nothing's changed about that. God have told you it is, so it is. So nothing have changed about that. But there's a gap. There's a gap from between transformation and due season. So you've put the work in. You may have been putting work in for years, right? Decades for some. You've put the work in. You've been through your isolation season. You've been transformed. God has really worked on a lot of your character issues and a lot of your generational curses and things like that. And so you know you're at due season, or you may already be in due season, but you're still waiting on certain things to manifest. Well, God is pruning you. A lot of you guys are in this pruning place where God is pruning people, or in my case is making space. He keeps convicting you about making space. That means whatever space is for you. That can be getting rid of old clothing. That can be, it's just whatever have you cluttered. Whatever have you cluttered. Things that were last season, things that you just kind of maybe have in your house, but is you don't even mess with those things. They're probably in your closet somewhere. They've been there for years, and like God is really convicting people to prune and make room. But when you are pruning things, when you're getting rid of things, when He's chopping people off in whatever way, right? When He's convicting you that, hey, this friendship is over. When He's convicting you like, listen, I'm tired of this toxic behind family. They keep you tied up in your emotions. They're not changing. So listen, I'm teaching you boundaries, firm boundaries. I'm teaching you to stop allowing people to have control of your emotions. I'm teaching you emotional stability. I'm teaching you self-control. I'm teaching you so he's teaching you a lot of things, but in teaching you a lot of things is being cut off and pruned off. Well, when you're being pruned of things, let's say people, for example, well, even though these people may have been toxic, even though they may have, I don't know, just serve you no longer serve you purpose in this season or whatever, regardless of what, they were still at some point some type of foundation, some type of comfort zone. So once you start losing these things one by one, it's almost feel like things are being moved, but then nothing is replacing it, because you're not in the season yet where these things are replacing the things that God is. Now they're coming, but it's not there yet for some people. So really you just feel naked. Because it's like, okay, well, you're not stripping me from people. You're not stripping me from things. You're not, okay, you said to get rid of these things because other things are coming, but the things haven't come yet, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I feel lost. You just have to wait. This is probably not even a season. This is just maybe a little, I don't know. You just have to wait it out. You got to wait it out. You have to wait it out. The worst thing you can go do right now is get your hands back in some stuff, especially, all caps, the things that God has removed, the things he's pruned you from. These can be things he pruned 2 years ago. When they start trying to come back, and this is the time that, because you feel so naked, because he's pruned you, you're very, very vulnerable at this time. You got to be very, very careful, because the people that he told you to put boundaries up with 2 years ago, or he told you to cut off 2 years ago, if these people were to call you right now, there's a chance you're going to think like, oh, the Lord must have sent them back. Why would he send back somebody that he told you to remove? Right? And if he wants them back, he'll be clear about that. But many times it's going to be the fact that you feel lonely, the fact that you feel naked, and you just want something to soothe you. This really is your test. So find you a hobby right now. Find you a hobby, a healthy hobby. Find you a healthy hobby right now. Really love on yourself. Really pour into yourself. Take this time to just really go back to your to-do list, because I'm sure you got about 1,000 things on there you haven't even completed, right? Go back to your to-do list. This is a time right here you got to be very, 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 very careful, because you feel raw, you feel vulnerable, and you feel naked and abandoned. But be still and know that he is God. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.